The sun had barely risen above the Serengeti when Ethan Cole lifted his binoculars for a routine morning sweep. The grass shimmered gold, wildebeest grazed lazily in the distance, and everything looked exactly the way a peaceful day in the wild should look. But then, something shifted. A dark, solitary figure moved steadily through the tall grass, slow but purposeful. Ethan adjusted the focus, expecting a lone bull elephant or perhaps a mother looking for her herd. What he saw instead made his breath lock in his chest. It was Amma, the old matriarch easily recognized by the curved notch in her right ear, walking alone. That in itself was strange, but what froze Ethan in place was the shape hanging from her trunk. Small, limp, motionless, a calf. And trailing behind them, marking the dry earth in a horrifying red streak, was a thin, unbroken line of blood. Ethan lowered the binoculars for a moment, hoping, praying he'd imagined it. But when he brought them back up, the truth hit with the force of a punch. The calf was barely breathing. Its tiny trunk drooped like a broken branch, and Amma's massive shoulders rose and fell as if she were carrying not just her baby, but the weight of the whole world. She wasn't wandering. She wasn't lost. She was coming straight for the Serengeti Wildlife Field outpost, straight for the humans she had every reason to avoid. "Base, this is Ethan," he said, voice tight as he grabbed the radio. "We've got an emergency. A matriarch is headed our way carrying a wounded calf. Repeat, she's carrying the calf." Static crackled. Then Sophia's voice came through, sharp and confused. "Carrying? Ethan, elephants don't—" "I know. That's why you need to see this." Ethan kept watching as Amma pushed forward step after step, her pace unwavering despite the blood loss, the heat, and the danger that surrounded her. She wasn't panicking. She wasn't charging. She was moving with the calm determination of a mother who had already made an impossible decision. Something twisted painfully in Ethan's chest. He'd seen elephant injuries before. He'd seen calves lost to predators, drought, even traps. But never had he seen a mother bring her baby straight into human territory. If any ranger had told him this story yesterday, he would have laughed it off. But here it was, happening in real time, and he was the first witness. He zoomed in further. Amma's eyes were swollen, not from rage, but from exhaustion. Every few steps, she shifted Luna higher against her chest, adjusting her grip with the same delicate care a human mother might use with a newborn. It was astonishing, heartbreaking, and more than a little frightening. Behind him, the wind began to pick up, the first hint of the storm forecasted to hit later that day. Dark clouds gathered far out on the horizon, rolling in like an omen. Ethan suddenly felt the pressure of something bigger than a rescue operation settling over him. If this calf didn't get help soon, no amount of medical knowledge, no insurance policy, no state-of-the-art health insurance plan, no top-rated personal injury lawyer or car accident attorney could save her. This was raw, unfiltered life and death playing out in the dust. He grabbed his pack and headed toward the main building, boots crunching over the dry dirt. "Sophia, get everything ready, and someone wake Daniel. He's going to want to see this." He hesitated, glancing back one more time at Amma. The wind carried the distant rumble of thunder, but Amma kept moving, unwavering, even as the sky darkened. "Unbelievable," he muttered under his breath. Then, almost reflexively, he added softly, "If folks watching this could see what I'm seeing right now, they'd understand why we tell these stories." He imagined the viewers, the quiet late-night watchers, the older folks who loved hearing true wilderness tales, leaning forward in their chairs. "And if you're out there listening someday," he whispered to the empty air, "don't forget to follow and subscribe to Whispering Hearts. Stories like this, they remind us of everything worth protecting." As Ethan jogged toward the outpost, a final detail made him stumble. It wasn't just Amma's steady march and Luna's limp body. It was the fact that Amma wasn't looking around. She wasn't searching for danger. She wasn't confused. She was looking straight at the outpost. As if she had known this place her entire life. As if she trusted it. As if she trusted them. Ethan swallowed hard. Whatever had happened to Luna, whatever had driven Amma to break every instinct her species carried, the real story was only just beginning. 48 hours before Amma appeared on the horizon carrying her dying calf, the Serengeti felt like a different world, gentler, quieter, almost deceptively peaceful. The grassland swayed under the morning breeze, stripes of sunlight pouring through the acacia trees like warm ribbons. Amma led her herd slowly across the dry riverbed, her massive frame moving with the steady confidence of a matriarch who had guided generations through droughts, fires, and shifting migration routes. Her baby, Luna, danced playfully beside her, bumping Amma's leg now and then as if reminding her she was still there. Luna had been born during a rare stretch of good rain, and Ethan often said the calf carried a kind of new rain stubbornness, that mix of curiosity and boldness only the very young possessed. She chased guinea fowl, splashed in puddles, and mimicked every step her mother took. Amma tolerated it all with a patient rumble, the way only an experienced leader could. Everything about that morning suggested things would stay that way, calm, ordinary, predictable. But nature doesn't send warnings when it's about to break a heart. As the herd approached a patch of promising shrubs, Amma slowed her pace. She scanned the distance, catching a faint scent she didn't like. It wasn't fresh, just the lingering smell of humans on metal. Most elephants would have turned away immediately, but the drought had stretched every creature thin, and water had become a gamble no matter where you walked. Amma decided to move cautiously, but forward. She had calves to protect, hungry stomachs to fill, and miles to cover before the sun climbed too high. Luna, meanwhile, had spotted a cluster of birds circling a distant puddle. Her instincts overpowered her training. With a short, excited trumpet, she darted ahead, slipping between two thorn bushes before Amma could rumble a warning. The matriarch bristled, turning her head sharply, but Luna was small and quick. By the time Amma nudged another cow to follow her scent trail, Luna had pushed into a patch of tall grass where shadows moved in ways she didn't understand. Serengeti had a rule older than every ranger, every map, every fence. Where water pools, danger follows. And this puddle, shallow, muddy, half-evaporated, was no exception. Unbeknownst to Luna, a crude wire snare lay half-buried beneath the grass, set by poachers who had no intention of catching elephants, but no remorse if they did. The sun climbed higher. The herd fed peacefully. All seemed well, until a sound ripped through the plain like a blade through silk. A calf's scream, high, shrill, and pure terror. Amma swung around with a force that shook dust from her back. She charged forward, pushing aside shrubs and trampling bushes, her heart pounding as if it were trying to outrun time itself. The rest of the herd reacted instantly, mothers shielding their own calves, young bulls lifting their trunks, everyone knowing that no elephant screamed like that unless death was already near. Amma broke through the last line of brush and saw Luna thrashing violently, her front leg yanked sideways by something thin and metallic, half hidden under the soil. The snare tightened each time Luna moved, cutting deeper, slicing skin, then muscle, until the ground beneath the calf was splattered with her own blood. Luna cried again, a shuddering, choking sound that tore through Amma's chest like lightning. Amma lunged forward, wrapping her trunk around Luna's torso to hold her still. She ripped at the snare, slamming her tusk into the ground, flinging dirt and stones aside. The wire wouldn't break. It bent, it twisted, but it held. The more she fought it, the more Luna bled. Amma trumpeted in rage so loud that birds lifted from treetops a mile away. And from the edge of the plain, something else stirred. A dusty pickup truck, painted in dull camouflage, sat half-hidden behind a mound of dry brush. Two men inside watched the chaos unfold, binoculars pressed to their faces. One of them spit into the dirt,
eyes narrowing. "Look at that. The mother's wearing herself out. She can't keep that up long." The other leaned forward, adjusting the focus. "Give it time. She'll either abandon it or die trying. Either way, we get ivory." They watched the suffering the way someone might watch a sports match. Cold, distant, calculating. The engine idled quietly, ready to move when opportunity arrived. Back by the puddle, Amma finally dragged Luna free, but the damage was catastrophic. Blood soaked the grass. The calf's leg hung at a sickening angle. Luna tried to stand, but her body trembled and collapsed. Amma let out a sound Ethan would later describe as the closest thing to a broken heart you'll ever hear from something that big. The herd circled, unsure, frightened. Calves cried, mothers rumbled. A choice loomed over Amma heavier than any drought or migration she had ever led her family through. Stay with the herd and lose her calf, or leave the herd and risk her own life trying to save Luna's. In the shimmering heat, Amma stood perfectly still. A memory flickered behind her eyes. Months earlier, a thunderous machine, the helicopter, descending onto a field nearby. Humans rushing out with crates, blankets, and tools. A wounded rhino lifted into a sling, treated, saved, returned to its family days later. Amma had watched that scene from a distance. She had stored it away, the way an elephant stores everything that matters. Now, with Luna's blood on her feet, that memory rose like a star in the dark. Amma looked toward the far-off outpost, toward the humans, and for the first time in her long life, she began to turn in their direction.
The moment Luna's scream cut through the heat-soaked air, the Serengeti shifted. Birds burst upward from distant acacia trees. Zebras jerked their heads toward the sound, and every elephant in Amma's herd froze, as if lightning had struck the earth beneath them. No calf made a cry like that, not unless death already had its hand around them. Amma spun so violently that dust spiraled around her feet. She charged toward the sound, her massive frame slicing through brush and thorn without slowing. The other elephants followed behind her, their deep rumbles trembling through the ground like distant thunder. But Amma was far ahead, because that cry wasn't just a warning. It wasn't just fear. It was the voice of her child. When Amma broke into the clearing, she saw Luna thrashing wildly, her small body twisted unnaturally to one side. A thin metal wire, almost invisible beneath the dry grass, had cinched tight around the calf's front leg. Each movement pulled the wire deeper, tearing skin, then muscle, then whatever strength Luna had left. The calf's eyes were wide with terror, her trunk reaching out toward Amma in a desperate plea for something familiar. Amma let out a roar that shook the dust from the air. She rushed forward, cradling Luna with her trunk to stop the frantic kicking. But the snare was merciless. Every tug Amma made to free her baby only tightened the grip of the cable. Blood streamed down Luna's leg, pooling beneath her in a dark, steady drip. Each drip was a reminder of how little time they had. Luna's scream turned into a choking sob. Her small body convulsed before slumping against Amma's chest. Amma tried to pull the wire again, and again, and again. Her tusks slammed into the ground as she dug furiously, tearing up roots, rocks, anything that stood between her and her daughter's freedom. But the wire held. It bit deeper. It was designed for this. Designed to maim, to weaken, to kill. The herd gathered at the edge of the clearing, anxious and restless. Some trumpeted fearfully, urging Amma to bring Luna away from the danger. But Amma wouldn't move. She couldn't. This was her child, her world. No predator, no drought, no storm had ever driven her to this edge. Yet now she was staring into a future where Luna might not see another sunrise. And she wasn't the only one watching.
Hidden behind a cluster of thorn bushes, the dusty pickup truck idled quietly. The two poachers inside observed every moment through binoculars. One chewed on a cracked toothpick, smirking. "She's burning herself out. That calf's done for anyway. Once she gives up, we can go in and take her tusks clean." The other man adjusted his binoculars, irritation flickering in his voice. "Not yet. Let her bleed more. It's easier when they're weak." Their callousness drifted on the quiet wind, unheard by the herd, but hanging in the air like poison. While Amma fought for her daughter, they waited for the moment tragedy would hand them profit. Back in the clearing, Amma managed to lift Luna enough that the wire slackened, but the calf was too weak to assist. Luna tried to trumpet, just a small, broken sound, but even that cost her precious strength. Her leg trembled violently, blood dripping faster now. Amma's heart pounded in panic. She wrapped her trunk around Luna's torso, trying to hold her still, trying to comfort her, trying to be the world's last bit of safety. She pressed her forehead gently against Luna's belly, offering the low, vibrating rumbles that elephant mothers use to soothe their newborns. But today her voice couldn't soften anything. Luna was hurting too much. For a moment, Luna stopped moving altogether. Amma froze. She nudged the calf's ear. No response. She swept her trunk along Luna's side, searching for breath, movement, anything. After a long second, Luna's chest rose just barely, a thin, shuddering gasp. Amma's legs nearly gave out with relief, but that relief quickly twisted into terror, because the calf wouldn't last long. The herd grew agitated. A young bull trumpeted loudly, stamping the ground as if demanding Amma abandon the danger. An older cow stepped forward, rumbling a warning. Elephants rarely remained in one place this long, not unless they wanted to attract predators. But Amma ignored them all. She leaned her weight backward and gave one final desperate heave. The wire snapped free from the ground, but not from Luna. It was so tightly embedded that the calf whimpered at even the slightest movement. Amma rumbled a shaken warning to her herd. The message was unmistakable. "This calf is coming with me." She scooped Luna gently, lifting her with a care that defied her enormous strength. Luna hung limply, head drooping, trunk drawing patterns in the dirt, as Amma steadied her child against her chest. One step, another, and another. Amma began moving away from the puddle, away from the snare, away from the herd that urged her to stay with them. She was heading somewhere with purpose, somewhere she remembered, somewhere humans existed. A distant memory flickered, the thunderous blades of a helicopter, a wounded rhino lifted into a sling. Humans with strange tools healing a life that should have been lost. Amma had watched from a ridge that day, storing every detail with the deep intelligence her kind carried. Elephants never forget, and now that memory was the only sliver of hope she had. Behind her, the herd hesitated, before slowly beginning to follow. But she rumbled sharply, telling them to stay back. This journey, she would take alone. As Amma stepped into the fading sunlight, Luna's blood left a trail behind them, an urgent message written on the land itself. A message that Ethan would later describe as the saddest breadcrumb trail I've ever seen. In the distance, a low rumble of thunder rolled across the plain, and the poacher's pickup truck quietly shifted into gear. The Serengeti was no longer peaceful. It had become a battlefield, and Amma, carrying her broken child, had just begun her impossible march toward the humans, toward the only chance Luna had left.
Amma stood over her wounded calf, her breath trembling through her massive chest. Luna lay limp in her trunk, barely conscious, her small leg twisted and swollen from the wire that had nearly taken her life. The herd lingered in a tight circle behind them, shifting anxiously, waiting for Amma's command. But Amma didn't call them. She didn't move toward the river. She didn't guide them to shade, food, or safety. She stood perfectly still, staring toward the distant edge of the savannah, as if something beyond the shimmering heat haze was calling her. A light breeze whispered through her ears, brushing against the dried blood on Luna's skin. Amma lowered her head, touching her forehead gently to her baby's cheek. The faint rise and fall of Luna's breathing offered the smallest comfort, but the truth weighed heavy. Luna wouldn't survive long like this, not with blood loss, not with infection setting in, not with a torn limb that even Amma's strength couldn't mend. For most elephants, this would be the end. But Amma was not most elephants. Deep within her memory, a place where elephants stored every joy, every grief, every danger, something stirred. A scene from many months earlier rose up, vivid as the day it happened. Amma had been leading her herd through the northern plains when the roar of something unnatural split the sky. The calves panicked, and Amma had raised her trunk, signaling them to stay close. Above them, a helicopter had descended, kicking up dust clouds and scattering birds from the treetops. The noise was deafening, the wind harsh, but Amma watched with a caution shaped by years of surviving droughts, fires, and human expansion. The helicopter landed in a clearing. Men and women dressed in uniforms jumped out, carrying crates, blankets, shiny metal tools. They knelt beside a huge form on the ground. A black rhino sprawled on its side, a long gash across its flank. Amma watched from behind a line of acacia, her herd tense but curious. The humans injected medicine, flushed the wound, stitched torn flesh, and wrapped the rhino's leg. They spoke calmly to one another, hands steady, movements practiced. 2 days later, the same helicopter returned. This time, Amma saw the rhino standing, weak but alive. The humans guided it to its herd, staying just long enough to ensure it could walk, then leaving again in a cloud of dust. Amma remembered the smell of antiseptic, the tone of the voices, the strange buzzing machines, the way the rhino, once so close to death, walked away. Most elephants would retreat at the sight of humans, but Amma had watched quietly, storing every detail. Elephants never forget. That memory had lived inside her like a single bright stone among darker ones, until now, when the weight of Luna's suffering forced her to search for anything at all that could save her child. Now that memory glowed like a beacon. Amma raised her head. The wind carried faint scents, dust, dry grass, distant rain, and something else, something metallic, something human. She had seen the direction that helicopter had flown after lifting off, and she had seen where the jeeps drove back to each evening, the place where humans stayed, the place where they healed, the field outpost. Behind her, the herd rumbled anxiously. They sensed her intention. They sensed danger. One of the older cows stepped forward, touching Amma's shoulder, offering comfort and a plea to reconsider. A journey toward humans meant risk. Humans had caused pain, chased them from watering holes, driven their ancestors into fear. Elephants taught their calves to avoid humans, not approach them. But Luna whimpered softly, her breath shallow. Her entire body shuddered from pain. Amma looked at her baby, her future, her hope, her legacy. Luna was too young to survive alone, too gentle to endure the brutality of the Serengeti, too precious to lose without a fight. The decision was no longer a question of instinct, it was a question of love. Amma lifted Luna carefully, adjusting her weight. The calf's trunk brushed weakly against Amma's tusk, a final plea for help. The matriarch rumbled a low, resonant sound, a promise, a vow, a mother's oath. Then Amma stepped forward, One step. Another. Away from her herd, away from the normal path of elephants, toward the scent of humans on the wind. The herd hesitated, shifting anxiously. A young bull tried to follow Amma, but she rumbled sharply, a command to stay back. The herd must survive even if she didn't. This journey would be hers alone. The sky darkened slightly as clouds thickened in the distance. A storm was building, unwelcome, unpredictable. Amma pressed onward, undeterred. Behind a clump of brush, several hundred yards away, the poachers in the truck exchanged looks as they watched Amma begin to walk away with her calf. "She's heading toward the humans," one muttered. The other scoffed. "Let her go. They won't help her. And when she gets tired," he tapped his rifle, "we'll still get what we came for." But Amma did not hear them. Her focus was unbreakable, her stride steady, her purpose clear. She wasn't running from danger. She wasn't following instinct. She was following memory and hope. The Serengeti stretched endlessly before her, a vast sea of grass, dust, and hidden threats. But Amma walked straight toward the horizon, toward the place where she had once seen humans heal the broken, toward the only chance Luna had left. And high above them, as if answering a silent call, the first distant rumble of thunder rolled across the sky. The journey toward the outpost had begun.
Amma moved into the open plains with Luna cradled gently in her trunk, the calf's small body limp against her. The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly, turning the Serengeti into a shimmering ocean of heat. Each step Amma took left a dark print in the dust, a trail marked by strength and by Luna's blood. The herd watched her go, rumbling their grief, but Amma didn't look back. A mother's path sometimes leads where no herd can follow. Luna's breathing grew softer as they advanced. Every few minutes, Amma adjusted her grip, nudging the calf closer to her chest to feel the faint rise and fall of Luna's ribs. The little elephant's head swung lightly with each step, her trunk brushing Amma's shoulder like a fading whisper. Amma responded with low, trembling rumbles, the kind she used when Luna was scared of thunder as a newborn. But even her deepest song couldn't ease this pain. The plains stretched wide and empty before them, and Amma moved with a determination that defied her exhaustion. The memory of the helicopter, the humans, the healing, those images guided her like distant lanterns. She didn't understand why humans sometimes hurt and sometimes help, but she remembered the sound of calm voices, the steady hands stitching torn skin, the way a dying rhino had been lifted back to life. If they could do that for one creature, maybe, just maybe, they could do the same for Luna. But the Serengeti was not about to let her pass without a test. As evening approached, the golden light softened into amber and the predators began to stir. Amma heard them before she saw them, the rhythmic patter of padded paws, the soft, low growl carried on the wind. Lions, not a full pride, but a group of young males, likely recently driven out and hungry enough to take risks. They had caught the scent of blood miles away. Amma stopped, setting Luna gently on the ground for a moment while she listened. The lions emerged from the tall grass like shadows with eyes. They stalked in a loose arc, heads low, tails twitching. Luna let out a weak whimper, and Amma's entire body stiffened, her ears flaring wide. A young lion crept forward, emboldened by the calf's condition. He stepped too close. Amma exploded. Her trumpet shattered the evening calm, a raw, furious blast that rattled the birds from the trees. She charged with such force that dust erupted behind her. The young lion scrambled backward, nearly tripping over his own paws. Amma's trunk swung like a hammer, slamming into the ground inches from his nose. She reared up, bringing her massive front feet down hard enough to crack the dry earth. The lions hesitated. They were predators, but they knew death when they saw it. Amma was rage, grief, and unstoppable will, wrapped into several tons of muscle. She would fight until her last breath, and they sensed it. But hunger makes even the bold cautious. They circled again. Amma positioned herself between the lions and Luna, her back legs braced, her trunk hovering protectively over her calf. She let out another warning call, a thunderous roar of sound. The lions backed off, slowly, reluctantly, but not too far. They knew the elephant was tired. They knew the calf was weakening. They were patient. Amma waited until the last lion slunk behind a hill before returning to Luna. She wrapped her trunk around the baby again, lifting carefully. Luna's breathing came in faint, uneven pulses, her head lolling against Amma's tusk. Time was slipping away. Amma had to move. The moon rose as the plains cooled, casting pale light over the long journey ahead. The scent of rain drifted from the west, promising a storm before dawn. Amma trudged onward through the night, leaving the threat of the lions behind, but still shadowed by danger. Each step cost her strength, but she never faltered. Luna's faint breaths drove her forward. The memory of the wino healed her path like a star. Hours later, Amma approached an old water trough, once used by local farmers before the drought drove them away. The structure was cracked, dry and abandoned, but Amma smelled moisture deep inside, just enough to keep Luna alive for a few more miles. She set Luna down gently, curling her trunk around the calf's neck, as if apologizing, before doing what she had to do. Amma smashed the trough. Her tusks splintered the brittle concrete. Dust and debris flew in every direction. A trickle of muddy water pooled beneath the rubble, hardly enough for a zebra, but enough for a calf barely holding on. Amma scooped the shallow water toward Luna's mouth, letting the calf taste the moisture as consciousness flickered weakly in her eyes. The crash of breaking concrete echoed across the plain and carried much further than Amma realized. In the distance, a safari jeep, full of tourists, packing expensive cameras and clumsy excitement, stopped at the noise. One passenger zoomed in with her long lens, capturing a shaky but unmistakable image. A mother elephant carrying her wounded calf, alone, bleeding, walking directly towards the human outpost. The woman uploaded the clip instantly, not knowing it would alert the rangers before Amma even arrived. A simple post, a small ripple, a miracle already in motion. Amma lifted Luna once more, the calf's head dangling weakly, and continued toward the place where the scent of humans grew stronger. The storm clouds rolled heavier above her, lightning flashing on the horizon. Every mile seemed longer than the last. Luna's breathing grew faint, almost unnoticeable. Amma stopped several times to nudge her child awake, desperate to feel any sign of life. But each time, Luna responded less. Still, Amma walked. She walked through the rising wind, through the gathering darkness, through the pain in her own body. She walked with the desperate hope that the creatures she once watched from afar, the ones who healed the rhino, would recognize what she needed now. And as she pressed on toward the field outpost, the storm followed behind her like a warning. The journey was far from over, but Amma was no longer just running from death. She was marching towards a miracle.
The Serengeti Wildlife Field Outpost was never meant for emergencies on this scale. It was a converted shipping container with a patched metal roof, a single examination table, and a generator that coughed more often than it hummed. When the winds picked up, the walls rattled as if the whole structure were bracing itself against the wild. This morning, as Ethan rushed in, the outpost felt even smaller than usual, too small for the crisis headed straight toward them. Dr. Sophia Reyes stood hunched over a tray of instruments, double-checking dosages for an injured zebra scheduled to arrive later that day. Her dark hair was tied back, her sleeves rolled up, and her expression locked in the kind of focus that only years in the field could teach. Beside her, a younger assistant named Mia tried to organize medical supplies, though most of the bins were half empty or mislabeled after weeks of non-stop work. Daniel Ward, the local tracker and the only one who seemed to understand animals in a way that blurred the line between instinct and intuition, sat by the radio cleaning mud from his boots. His calm presence grounded the outpost, but even he paused when Ethan burst in, breathless. "You need to come outside," Ethan said.
His voice was low, strained, the kind of voice men used when they'd seen something that didn't fit into the world they knew. All of you, now. Sophia straightened, frowning. Ethan, unless someone just handed in a miracle? That's exactly what's walking toward us, he cut in. His hand trembled slightly as he set his binoculars on the table. Amma, the matriarch. She's coming here. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Elephants come near the outpost sometimes. Why is... She's carrying her calf, Ethan said quietly, in her trunk, and the calf is bleeding. Silence fell so deep that even the storm rumbling outside seemed to hesitate. Sophia blinked twice, almost laughing in disbelief. Ethan, elephants don't carry calves like that. They nudge them, they shield them, they don't... I know what I saw, Ethan said, voice tight. She's coming straight here, purposefully. Daniel stood slowly. His face shifted into something grave, almost reverent. If a mother elephant is bringing her child to us, he murmured, that means she believes we can help. Sophia felt her stomach twist. She had treated elephants before, but sedated ones, injured in ways that allowed careful, controlled surgery. A mother bringing her calf willingly to humans? That had no protocol. No training covered this. One wrong move could trigger an attack that would flatten the outpost in seconds. Still, she grabbed her bag. Show me. The four hurried outside. The wind had grown stronger, brushing dry grass into restless waves. Clouds swallowed the sun, casting the savannah in a dim gray that promised a violent storm by afternoon. Sophia squinted toward the horizon. And then she saw her. Amma. Huge. Bleeding. Moving slowly but steadily toward them. In her trunk hung Luna, limp, barely breathing. Every few steps, Amma paused to adjust the baby, gentle in a way no creature that size should be able to manage. A trail of dark red followed them like the shadow of death itself. Mia gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Oh my God. Sophia's chest tightened. She's actually coming to us. Amma's tusks glimmered faintly in the dull light. Her ears were low, not flared, not threatening. Her pace was deliberate, careful. This wasn't confusion, this wasn't panic. This was intention. Daniel stepped forward, swallowing hard. I've heard stories, he murmured. My grandfather told me elephants sometimes sense who means them harm and who might save them. I never believed. Ethan shook his head. Believe it, and she's almost here. Sophia's medical instincts kicked in. We need to prepare now. Mia, get every compress, suture kit, antibiotics, whatever's left. Ethan, check the tranquilizer rifles, but only as a last resort. Daniel, you stay with me. She trusts you more than she trusts anyone else here. Mia darted back inside. Ethan ran for the storage shed, but Daniel didn't move. He was staring intently at Amma, watching every shift in her ears, every angle of her head. She's exhausted, he said softly. Look at her gait. She hasn't had water, and that calf, that child, is half a breath from dying. Sophia's throat tightened. We can't let her get too close to the buildings. If she panics... She won't, Daniel said. Not yet. Not unless she thinks we're hurting her baby. Thunder cracked in the distance, echoing across the plains like a warning. Sophia rushed back inside to grab extra equipment. The generator flickered, lights dimming for a second before stabilizing. The storm was pushing in fast. If they lost power during a procedure? No, she couldn't think about that yet. A sudden buzz from the outpost's communication tablet broke her focus. Ethan had set it to monitor nearby wildlife alerts and tourist feeds. Now, a notification lit up across the screen. Viral footage from Serengeti, elephant mother carrying injured calf. A shaky video thumbnail showed Amma trudging across the plains, Luna dangling helplessly. Sophia swallowed hard. They filmed her. Ethan re-entered with a toolkit and saw the screen. Yeah, that clip's already spreading through every ranger group in the region. Then we're not the only ones watching, Sophia whispered. A gust of wind slammed against the outpost walls. The storm was nearly upon them. Time was running out. Sophia grabbed more gauze and sprinted outside, just as Amma reached the outer edge of the clearing. The matriarch stopped. Thunder rolled overhead. The wind whipped dust around her massive legs. Amma lifted Luna slightly, one final effort, then took a few slow steps forward. Sophia felt her breath catch. "Amma," Daniel murmured, stepping toward her with open hands. "We see you. We see your baby." Amma's eyes locked onto Sophia with a depth that no animal should possess. And then, without hesitation, she began walking again. Not away, not around, straight toward them, as if she had chosen them long before they ever realized they were chosen.
The clearing outside the Serengeti Wildlife Field outpost had never been this silent. Even the wind, usually restless at midday, seemed to hold its breath as Amma approached. Dust clung to her legs, streaked with Luna's dried blood. Her great ears drooped low, not in aggression, but in exhaustion. She moved slowly now, not because she lacked strength, but because every step counted. Every movement carried purpose. Sophia, Ethan, Daniel, and Mia stood frozen a few yards from the entrance of the outpost, watching a sight that felt more like a dream than a moment grounded in the real world. Amma lifted Luna a little higher, adjusting the limp calf against her chest. Luna's trunk dangled, motionless. Her breathing was so shallow that even Daniel, with his trained eye, struggled to see it. "Easy, girl," Daniel whispered, stepping slightly ahead of the others. His voice was low, steady, the kind used on frightened animals and grieving families alike. "We're here to help your little one." Amma stopped just outside the clearing. Her massive frame cast a long shadow over the yellowed grass. For a moment, she simply stood there, studying them, evaluating, weighing, searching. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't blind chance. She was thinking, choosing. Then Amma moved. Slowly, deliberately. Amma bent her knees just slightly, a motion so controlled it felt ceremonial, and lowered Luna onto the ground. The calf settled into a patch of soft dirt, her body limp as a dropped cloth. Sophia's heart clenched when she saw the mangled leg more clearly. Raw flesh, deep cuts, and swelling that suggested infection had already begun its deadly crawl. It was a miracle Luna was still breathing at all. Amma curled her trunk beneath Luna's small head, holding it for a final moment. She lingered there, almost as if whispering something only mother elephants knew how to say. A promise, a reassurance, a goodbye if necessary. Then Amma lifted her head, and she stepped back. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. She stopped, planted her feet, bowed her head just slightly. Daniel's breath hitched. "He's presenting her child," he whispered, "asking for help." Sophia felt a tremor of awe run down her spine. My God, she understands what she's doing. But the moment hung on a thin, fragile thread, because Mia, nervous, overwhelmed, shifted her footing and fumbled the metal case that she'd been carrying. It slipped from her hands and crashed onto the ground with a sharp clang. The sound tore through the clearing like a gunshot. Amma snapped upright, her ears flared wide, her trunk whipped upward, coiling with instinctive force. The crackle of fear rippled through the air as Sophia, Ethan, and Mia stumbled backward. Even Daniel froze, because this was the split second where everything could fail. One wrong twitch, one wrong sound, and Amma could end them all before they had time to scream. Sophia didn't move. She barely breathed. Her heart hammered against her ribs as Amma took a half step forward, eyes wide, pupils dark with primal fear. "Daniel," she whispered through clenched teeth, "say something." Daniel raised both empty hands. "Amma, it's okay. No one will hurt her. No one will hurt you. Amma's trunk swayed like a warning pendulum. Her body trembled with the need to defend Luna. The slightest misinterpretation could bring everything crashing down. Mia backed up too quickly and hit the metal wall of the outpost. The noise echoed. Amma let out a trembling rumble, low, guttural, in sorrow. Sophia shot Mia a glance sharp enough to cut steel. "Move again and you'll get us all killed," she hissed. But then, something unexpected happened. Amma didn't charge. Instead, she dipped her head again, just slightly, as if remembering why she came, as if reminding herself of the decision she had already made. Her trunk lowered toward Luna, touching her softly, a mother's reassurance, a promise renewed. Daniel exhaled shakily. She's holding her ground. She's choosing trust. Very slowly, he took a step forward, making his movements big enough for Amma to see, small enough not to intimidate. He knelt a few feet from Luna, never breaking eye contact with Amma. "Thank you. We'll help her now." Sophia joined him, walking as though every muscle in her body had to relearn gentleness. Her hands were open, her voice soft. "Amma, your baby needs us. I need to get closer, okay?" Amma rumbled, low, resonant, unnervingly human in its sorrow. She didn't advance, she didn't retreat. She simply stood there watching every breath Sophia took. Then, with a slow and deliberate motion, Amma shifted her front left foot to the side, clearing space. A choice made in clarity, not fear. Sophia's throat tightened. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay. We're doing this." Ethan and Mia approached cautiously from behind, carrying medical supplies. The wind picked up, tugging at their clothes, whistling through the grass. Storm clouds gathered overhead, darkening the clearing as if nature itself understood the importance of this moment. Amma lifted her trunk again, not in threat, but in warning. She was giving them permission, but she was also telling them that any harm, any mistake, would be met with consequences no human could outrun. Sophia knelt beside Luna's boneless body. The calf's skin was warm, feverish, her breathing shallow, her pulse nothing more than a faint flutter beneath the skin. "Hold on, little one," she murmured, running a gentle hand along Luna's cheek. Behind her, Amma watched with the strained composure of a mother handing her newborn to a stranger. Every muscle in her body quivered with fear and hope intertwined. She shifted her weight, ready to intervene, yet choosing not to. Sophia inhaled deeply and reached for her medical kit. The 3 steps Amma had taken now echoed in her mind. 3 steps back, 3 steps of unspoken trust, 3 steps that changed everything. This was no longer just a rescue. It was a negotiation between species, written in blood, hope, and the trembling breath of a dying calf. The storm rolled closer, thunder grumbling across the sky, and the real battle for Luna's life was finally about to begin. The sky had darkened to the color of old iron by the time Sophia began preparing for the procedure. A restless wind swept across the clearing, bending the grass and rattling the tin walls of the outpost. The smell of rain mixed with dust hung in the air, a reminder that nature was gathering its own kind of pressure. But all Sophia could see was Luna. The calf lay on her side, body trembling in shallow waves, breath rasping in and out with painful effort. Her leg, twisted, swollen, torn, looked far worse up close than it had from a distance. The snare had cut deep, carving a path through tissue and muscle. Infection had already begun its silent climb. If they hesitated now, Luna wouldn't survive another hour. Sophia crouched beside her, running 2 careful fingers along the calf's cheek. "Easy, sweetheart. Stay with us. Your mama got you this far." Beside her, Daniel stood perfectly still, positioned between the humans and Amma. His job was simple:
and impossibly difficult. Read every flicker of emotion in the matriarch's body language and prevent disaster before it could unfold. Ethan stood behind him with a tranquilizer rifle, safety off, but barrel lowered, ready only in the absolute worst case. Mia knelt at Sophia's side, her hands shaking so hard the forceps clinked together. Amma loomed just a few yards away, watching everything. Her ears hung low, her trunk hovered protectively over Luna's belly, touching her gently now and then to reassure the frightened calf. Even in her fear, even in her exhaustion, Amma radiated an ancient, fierce dignity. She had done her part. She had made the impossible journey. Now she stood guard, trusting strangers with the single life she cherished most. Sophia exhaled deeply. "We start now," she said, her voice steadying despite the storm pushing closer overhead. "Daniel, I need you to keep talking to her. Let her know what I'm doing." Daniel nodded and began murmuring in a low, rhythmic tone, half reassurance, half translation of human intention into something an elephant might understand. Every sound he made was deliberate, shaped by years of watching and listening to the great herds. Amma responded with a trembling rumble, the kind that vibrated in the ground more than in the air. Sophia centered herself. First step, anesthetic. She pulled out a syringe fitted with a long, heavy needle intended for large mammals. Mia held the vial with trembling hands while Sophia drew the dose. The wind gusted again, pulling at her shirt. Thunder rolled across the plain like an ancient drumbeat. Sophia leaned over Luna. "You're going to feel sleepy, little one. Don't be scared." But as soon as the cold needle touched Luna's skin, the calf let out a sharp, broken cry. Amma's reaction was instant. Her massive foot stomped the earth, cracking dry soil. Her trunk surged forward with a sound that cut through bone, a warning, primal and heart-stopping. Ethan's finger tightened reflexively on the trigger. Mia gasped and scrambled back. "No!" Daniel barked. "Everybody freeze!" Sophia froze mid-motion, needle half pressed into Luna's side. She didn't breathe, didn't blink. Amma towered above them, every muscle in her colossal body pulled taut, trembling from the sheer force of instinct: protect, defend, destroy anything that hurts her baby. "Amma," Daniel whispered, palms out. She's helping your child." Thunder cracked overhead, a violent tearing sound that echoed through the clearing. Amma jolted, but didn't strike. Her trunk hovered inches from Sophia's shoulder. One lunge and it would be over. Sophia kept her voice soft, barely more than breath. "I know it hurts. I know. But she needs this, Amma. I promise you." The matriarch fixed her with a gaze so deep it felt like stepping off a cliff. Seconds passed like hours. Then slowly, painfully, Amma lowered her trunk. Not in defeat, but in consent. Her massive head dipped once, an ancient gesture of allowance. Sophia finished the injection. Luna's breathing deepened. Her eyes fluttered, then closed. Mia let out a shaky exhale. "I thought she was going to kill us." "She still might. Don't give her a reason," Daniel said. But there was no time to linger on fear. Luna was slipping deeper into sedation, and every second counted. Sophia rolled up her sleeves and reached for her scalpel. Rain began to fall, not a downpour, but a scattered, uneven drizzle that pattered against the metal roof, the ground, and Amma's broad back. The storm had arrived early. "We're cleaning the wound," she said out loud, hoping Amma could sense the intention behind every word. Daniel echoed her in placating tones. The first cut had to be made. Sophia placed the scalpel on the infected flesh. Luna jerked reflexively. and Amma reared her head again, letting out a trembling roar that rattled the outpost walls. Ethan's finger tightened reflexively on the trigger. Mia gasped and scrambled back. "No!" Daniel barked. "She's helping her!" Rain intensified. Thunder boomed. The wind whipped, shaking the equipment and spraying grit across the ground. The world felt moments away from breaking open. But Sophia kept working, her blade steady even as her heart pounded. The snare was embedded deeper than she'd feared. Metal gleamed beneath torn tissue, ugly, twisted wire cutting into young bone. Sophia swallowed hard. "Hold strong, baby," she whispered. "I'm getting this out." She dug into the wound, steady, careful strokes. Blood welled up. She suctioned it away. Mia wiped the area, knuckles white from tension. Amma stepped closer, a towering silhouette against the lightning-slashed sky. Her breaths came in heavy, frightened bursts, but she didn't intervene. Each rumble she made vibrated through Sophia's bones. Minutes blurred into long, agonizing stretches of time. The generator sputtered. Luna's pulse slowed. The storm roared above them. Then Sophia found it. The snare's knot. "Got you," she whispered, almost to herself. "Almost there." She maneuvered her tools beneath the wire, gripping it firmly. "On 3, she said, to herself, to Luna, to Amma. 1, a lightning flash illuminated the clearing. 2, Amma braced, trembling. 3, Sophia pulled. The wire tore free. Amma's roar split the sky, fear, relief, anguish all at once, echoing across the plains like a warrior shout. Ethan flinched. Mia dropped the gauze. Daniel steadied himself against the force of it. Sophia held up the blood-covered wire, her breath shaking. "It's out," she gasped. "It's finally out." Luna's body went still, not lifeless, but peaceful. Her breathing slow and even. Amma lowered her massive head, touching the calf's side with unbelievable delicacy. The worst was over. But the real danger, the storm, the infection, the healing, was only beginning. Sophia wiped her forehead with the back of her wrist, rain mixing with sweat and dust. "We're not losing her now. Let's finish this," she murmured.
Rain hammered the clearing now, heavy and relentless, drumming against the outpost roof like 1,000 fists. The sky had fully opened, turning the dusty Serengeti into a slick, mud-streaked battlefield. Lightning cracked overhead again, white veins spreading across a bruised cloud line. The wind howled through the grass, bending the acacia branches nearly sideways. And through it all, Amma stood unmovable, an ancient pillar of instinct and devotion, towering above the humans who worked furiously to save her child. Sophia wiped rainwater from her eyes and leaned over Luna's torn leg. The snare was gone, but the wound it left behind was a deep, angry canyon of broken flesh that still oozed blood. The infection was worse than she feared. The tissue around the gash was swollen, discolored, a sign that bacteria had begun spreading quickly. "Daniel, I need more light!" Sophia shouted over the storm. Daniel hurried to reposition the portable lamp, shielding it from the rain with his body. The beam wavered but held steady enough for Sophia to see. Ethan knelt beside her, hands trembling slightly as he passed her sutures, disinfectant and gauze. "Tell me what you need," he said, his voice low to keep from startling Amma. "Antibiotic flush," she said. "Mia, get me the sterile saline and gentamicin." Mia fumbled through the kit, her soaked hair plastered against her cheeks, but she managed to hand Sophia the right tools. The wind kept blowing grit at them, mixing dust with rain, and Ethan pivoted to block the debris as best he could. Sophia inserted the syringe, flushing the wound with a steady hand. Amma immediately stepped forward again, alarmed by Luna's sudden flinch. Her trunk hovered dangerously close to Sophia's shoulder, so close that Sophia could feel the heat of her breath. Daniel reacted instantly. "Amma, she's helping," he said, calmly, lowering his voice into that deep, smooth register elephants seem to respond to. Amma rumbled deeply, a sound trembling with fear and sorrow. Her eyes locked onto Sophia's hands, watching every movement with unnerving intelligence. Rainwater streamed down her face, mixing with the dust on her skin and the faded streaks of Luna's blood. Every second she remained this close was a miracle and a threat. Sophia kept working. She probed deeper into the wound, locating pockets of infection and carefully removing dead tissue. The calf jerked occasionally, even sedated, and each twitch sent Amma into a tense, protective freeze. The storm grew louder, the sky darker, and then something else shifted. A faint noise cut through the thunder. An engine. Daniel's head snapped up. Ethan stiffened. Mia froze. Amma did not understand the sound, but the humans did. Ethan looked toward the far side of the clearing. Through the sheets of rain, two faint headlights flickered in the distance, slowly weaving across the plains. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Poachers," he muttered. Sophia didn't look away from Luna's wound. "We can't stop." "We won't," Ethan replied, standing. "Daniel, stay with Amma. Mia, inside now, get the flare gun." Mia sprinted through the mud, slipping as she ran. Amma's head jerked toward the movement, but Daniel murmured low, calming sounds, keeping her attention fixed. Ethan wiped the rain from his face and peered into the storm. "If they get closer, we'll signal the rangers," he said, "but the weather's killing our radio range." Sophia didn't let her hands waver. "We don't have time to panic. Luna doesn't have long." A flash of lightning illuminated the clearing again, bright enough for Amma to see her calf clearly. Luna's breathing had grown harsher, more strained. Sophia felt her gut twist. "We're losing her," she whispered. Amma let out a soft, broken rumble, so low that it shook the ground beneath them. She reached her trunk down and gently stroked Luna's forehead. The calf didn't respond. Her trunk lingered, trembling. Sophia swallowed hard, fighting the tightness in her throat. "Stay with us, sweetheart. Stay with us." Rain drenched every inch of them. The dirt around Luna's body had turned to mud, mixing with blood in thick streams that ran downhill like faint red rivulets. "Amma," Daniel said softly. "You need to trust her. Let her finish." It was then that Amma did something Sophia would never forget. The great matriarch slowly lowered herself to her knees, a rare, vulnerable posture for an elephant of her size, and leaned her massive head so close to Luna that her forehead touched the calf's side. Her trunk coiled gently around Luna's belly, not interfering, not blocking access, simply comforting. A mother holding her child through the storm. Tears blurred Sophia's vision, though she couldn't tell if it was from the rain, the wind, or the raw, unbearable tenderness before her. "We're closing," Sophia whispered, stitching the deepest part of the wound. "Just hold on." A thunderclap shook the sky again, and Amma flinched. But she did not rise. She stayed kneeling beside her child, trusting these fragile humans with impossible faith. Sophia worked faster. She cleaned, sutured, disinfected, bandaged. Every movement was soaked in urgency. Ethan returned to guard position, watching the distant headlights as they crept closer through the storm. "They're circling," he muttered. "Looking for something. Looking for her," Daniel said grimly. Sophia tied the final suture, her fingers stiff from cold and rain. "Bandage!" Mia rushed the gauze forward, handing it to her with shaking hands. Sophia wrapped the leg tightly, securing it with layers of thick cloth. The bleeding slowed, the calf's breathing steadied a little, still faint, still fragile, but steady. She sat back finally,
chest burning with exhaustion. "We need to get her under shelter. She can't stay in this rain." Daniel looked at Amma. "We need your help too, girl. She'll be okay, but she needs to move." Amma did not rise. She stayed kneeling beside Luna, her trunk wrapped around the calf like a shield against the raging storm. Sophia reached out, her voice gentle. "Amma, she's alive. She made it through. You did it. You brought her to us in time." Amma's massive body trembled. Her eyes closed. She let out a long, exhausted breath, a rumble so deep that it bordered on a sob. Luna's chest rose again and again, slow but steady. The storm cracked one last time, and Amma finally lifted her head. She rose, towering once again, but steadier now, less frantic, more resolute. Her trunk brushed beside Sophia, lingering for a heartbeat, a gesture of acknowledgement, of gratitude. Ethan called out from the distance. "They're turning away. The storm is pushing them off course." Sophia exhaled hard. "Good, because we're not done yet." The calf was alive. The poachers were delayed. The storm had not broken them. And now, the next chapter of trust was about to begin.
The storm passed sometime in the early morning hours, leaving the Serengeti washed clean and glistening under a pale silver dawn. The air felt different, cooler, sharper, the kind that carried the scent of wet earth and new beginnings. But inside the clearing, where Amma stood watch beside her bandaged calf, the mood remained fragile, suspended between relief and fear. Sophia had not slept. None of them had. The night had been a long rotation of cleaning wounds, checking Luna's breathing, adjusting the bandages, and keeping a cautious eye on Amma, who never once stepped away from her daughter. Ethan sat on an overturned water bucket, shoulders slumped, sipping what had once been hot coffee but had long since turned cold. Mia leaned against the outpost wall, wrapped in a blanket, eyelids heavy but refusing to close. Daniel stood at Amma's side, arms crossed, as steady as the old acacia tree that had survived a dozen storms. Luna slept, sedative still working through her small frame, her breaths shallow but steady, each one a fragile promise that she was still fighting. The moment the first stripe of sunlight broke over the horizon, Amma stirred. She lifted her head, her eyes catching the new light. Something shifted in her posture, something ancient and instinctive. The rising sun meant movement. Elephants rarely stayed in one place this long, especially after danger. Amma gently nudged Luna with her trunk, a soft, urgent rumble rolling through her massive chest. Sophia stepped forward quickly. "Easy, girl," she whispered. "She's not ready to stand yet." Amma's head swung toward her, not in aggression, but in confusion. Her trunk hovered over Luna again, brushing the calf's ear, urging her gently. Daniel watched closely. "She thinks it's time for the herd to move. She doesn't understand recovery the way we do. In her mind, staying still too long means danger." Sophia crouched beside Luna, checking the bandages. Rain had softened the edges, but the sutures had held. It was a miracle the calf had made it through the night at all. "She can't walk yet," Sophia said softly, "not without tearing everything open again." Amma responded with a low rumble, anxious, restless. For the first time since arriving, she lifted one heavy foot and took a small step back, then forward, pacing in a tight half circle. It was a behavior Sophia had seen before. "She's torn," Daniel murmured. "Her instincts tell her to move. Her heart tells her to stay." Luna stirred then, her first real movement since the surgery. Her trunk twitched weakly, brushing against Amma's leg. Amma froze, trembling from the relief of seeing her child wake. She knelt slightly and pressed the tip of her trunk to Luna's cheek. "Good girl," Sophia whispered, relief washing over her. "She's waking up." But waking brought pain. Luna let out a faint, distressed cry, a thin, broken note that pierced the morning air. Amma reacted instantly. She rose to full height, trumpeted once in raw panic, then circled around Luna, trying to coax her up with gentle pushes from her trunk. Luna tried. She planted her good leg beneath her. She pressed her forehead to the ground. Her muscles trembled. She pushed and collapsed back down with a gasp of pain. Amma's cry tore through the clearing, shaking every human to their core. She let out a second trumpet, louder, filled with frustration and helplessness. Her trunk flailed just once in a burst of fear before she regained control and lowered herself protectively again. Sophia stepped forward slowly. "Amma, listen to me," she said gently. "She's not strong enough yet. She needs time." Amma looked at her, really looked at her, with eyes that held both desperation and a frightening depth of understanding. Her massive frame trembled with the force of instincts she was trying to suppress. Daniel whispered, "She's asking why her baby can't move. She thinks she failed." Sophia swallowed hard. She knelt, placing her hand lightly on Luna's side. "She'll walk again," she said softly, not sure if she was speaking to Amma or herself. Ethan approached from behind. "Sophia, the herd." He pointed toward the horizon. A line of gray shapes had appeared in the distance, Amma's family, drawn by the scent of rain and the reunion of dawn. They moved slowly, uncertainly, watching Amma from afar. A few calves trumpeted in joy. Several adults let out deep rumbles of relief. Amma heard them. Her head rose. She rumbled back, low, resonant, longing. Her family called to her again, urging her to return, urging her to guide them. Sophia felt a knot twist in her chest. If she leaves now, Luna won't survive. Daniel's voice was tight. "She knows." Amma's massive shoulders rose and fell with deep, conflicted breaths. She looked from her family, to Luna, to the humans, back to her family. A choice no creature should ever have to make. Luna whimpered again, barely awake. Amma turned back immediately, her trunk curling around the calf's neck, protective and tender. She rumbled, not a call for the herd, but a soothing hum for her child. Her decision was made. She would stay. But then something unexpected happened. From the herd, a young female, Amma's eldest daughter, broke formation. She approached slowly, cautiously, her steps respectful and deliberate. She stopped several yards away, rumbling softly, offering comfort from afar. Amma responded with a soft rumble of her own, permission granted. The young female took a step closer, then another. And then she did something Sophia had never seen. She knelt beside Luna, mirroring Amma's posture, touching the calf gently with her trunk. A second guardian, a shared grief, a shared responsibility. "Look at that," Ethan whispered. "She came to help." "It's what families do," Daniel murmured. Sophia watched with a lump in her throat, even if the world falls apart around them. The herd remained at a respectful distance, sensing the boundary. 2 elephants guarded Luna now. 2 hearts chose to stay in this fragile clearing. Sophia stood slowly. "She has a chance," she whispered. "A real chance." Luna's eyes fluttered open again. She reached a tiny trunk toward Amma's leg, touching her with the faintest hint of strength. Amma answered with a low, trembling hum. A promise renewed, a vow strengthened, a mother's hope reborn with the rising sun.
The Serengeti outpost settled into a fragile quiet as morning strengthened into midday. The worst of the storm had passed, leaving behind puddles that reflected the pale sky and blades of grass heavy with rain. A calmness spread across the land, but it was the kind of calm that feels borrowed, temporary, a pause before the next test. Luna lay nestled between Amma and her eldest daughter, both elephants curled protectively around the calf like living walls. Their trunks rested gently across Luna's back, feeling every breath, every faint movement, as if to assure themselves she was still there, weak but alive. Sophia stepped out of the outpost with fresh bandages in hand, her eyes red from a sleepless night. Ethan followed behind her with 2 buckets of clean water, while Daniel walked ahead, still barefoot from the night's chaos, sensing that Amma responded better to quiet, grounded presence than anything else. Amma watched them approach. Not with the panic of earlier, but with the unblinking intensity of a mother who had surrendered everything and now waited to see if that surrender was worth it. Daniel raised his hand, palm open. "Morning, Amma," he whispered. "We're here to check on her again." The great matriarch rumbled a low, almost weary note. Her trunk brushed against Luna's belly, waking the calf slightly. Luna shifted her head, her eyes heavy and glassy, but aware enough to sense movement, weak, unsteady, but awake. Sophia knelt beside her, letting Amma see every inch of her hands. "Good morning, sweetheart. We're going to look at your leg, okay? Just a little." Amma's trunk lowered toward Sophia's hand, hovering an inch above her skin, testing, sniffing, searching for the smallest sign of danger. The air felt tight for a moment, as if even the grass held its breath, until Amma slowly withdrew her trunk and turned it toward Luna instead. Permission. Sophia exhaled with relief. "Thank you," she breathed. She touched the bandages carefully. They were soaked from rainwater, but the sutures had held. The leg was still swollen, but the dangerous heat of infection had eased slightly. A small victory, but a victory nonetheless. "She's responding," Sophia said, voice shaking with hope. "The antibiotics are working." Ethan let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. "So she's really gonna make it?" "She's fighting," Sophia replied, "and that's more than we could ask for." But just as hope warmed the clearing, the wind shifted again, bringing with it a familiar, unwelcome scent. Exhaust fumes. Daniel's head snapped up. "They're back." Sophia froze. "The poachers?" "They didn't give up," Ethan said grimly, looking toward the horizon, where dust plumes were just barely visible. They waited out the storm. A chill swept the clearing, far colder than the morning air. Amma sensed it too. Her ears flared, not in aggression, but in warning. She rose to full height, stepping over Luna with a protective grace that defied her massive weight. Her daughter, Amma's eldest, moved beside her, forming a living barricade around the calf. Luna gave a soft cry, confused by the sudden tension. Amma nuzzled her gently, promising safety, but her eyes were fixed on the distant shapes moving closer. Daniel spoke quickly. "Ethan, radio the nearest ranger patrol. Tell them we have a poaching unit heading straight for us." Sophia looked from Amma to Luna, her heart racing. "We can't move, Luna. If they reach the clearing—" "We won't let them," Ethan said, already sprinting toward the outpost door. Mia appeared in the doorway, breathless. "Radio's cutting in and out, but I got a signal through. A patrol is on the way. They just don't know how fast they'll get here." Sophia's stomach dropped. "So we're alone for now." Daniel nodded, jaw tight. "Then Amma isn't the only one standing guard." The humans quickly moved into position, Ethan grabbing the flare gun Mia had prepped, Daniel taking the tranquilizer rifle, not to harm Amma, but as a last resort against the men approaching. Sophia stood beside Luna, refusing to leave her side even if danger stepped into the clearing. Ethan raised the binoculars. 2 men, 1 vehicle. They're slowing down. They're looking for tracks. They know she came this way. Everything in the clearing tightened. Amma's posture, the humans' breaths, the tension in the air itself. Then, a distant rumble broke the silence. Not thunder this time. Engines. Multiple engines. Sophia blinked. "Are those—" Ethan squinted through the binoculars. Then his shoulders dropped in relief. "Ranger trucks! 3 of them!" Daniel exhaled, closing his eyes for a brief moment. "Thank God." Amma sensed the shift in energy, though she didn't understand the machines. What she understood was Daniel's softened stance and the way Sophia gently rested her hand on Luna as if to say, "You are safe."
Minutes later, the ranger trucks crested the hill, kicking up dust as they circled toward the poacher's path. The poacher's jeep spun sharply, skidding in the wet earth, engines revving in sudden panic. The chase was brief, the apprehension swift, the threat finally removed. When Ethan returned to the clearing, rainwater and mud streaked across his boots. He let out a breath that trembled with adrenaline. "They're in custody," he said. "They won't be coming back." Sophia nearly collapsed in relief. "Then she's safe," she whispered, stroking Luna's cheek gently. "They're both safe." Daniel looked at Amma, who had remained tall and unshakable through the entire ordeal. "She never doubted us," he said quietly. "Not for a moment." Ethan chuckled under his breath. "I wish I had her kind of trust." Amma lowered her head slowly, pressing her trunk delicately against Sophia's arm. Sophia froze, then softened, letting a smile spread across her exhausted face. "She's thanking us," she murmured. "No," Daniel said softly. "She's accepting us." For the first time since Amma had stepped into the clearing, the outpost felt less like a boundary between worlds and more like a meeting place, where trust had been earned through fear, storm, pain, and endurance. Luna stirred again, her trunk lifted, weakly, reaching toward Amma. Sophia whispered, "She's waking up." Amma let out the softest rumble, a mother's lullaby, and bowed her great head in gratitude, rainwater dripping like tears down her skin. The worst had passed, but the final chapter of this story was yet to be written.
The days that followed settled into a quiet rhythm of care and waiting. The storm gave way to clear skies, and the outpost became something it had never been before, a shared sanctuary. Amma remained, day after day, never wandering far from Luna's side. Her eldest daughter stayed too, a silent aunt, often standing guard at the edge of the clearing, watching the horizon while Amma watched her child. Sophia and her team fell into their own pattern. Mornings began with checking Luna's temperature, cleaning the wound, and rewrapping the bandages. Afternoons were spent monitoring her breathing, her appetite, and the tiniest movements in her bad leg. Evenings brought long, hushed conversations on the outpost steps, where Ethan and Daniel would sit shoulder to shoulder, boots in the dust, speaking softly about things that felt somehow larger than science. Things like trust, faith, and the strange ways the wild could look back at you and see more than a stranger. Luna improved slowly. First, she could lift her head without help. Then she shifted her weight without whimpering. Then came the day she tested her leg. It happened at sunrise. The light was soft and gold, pooling over the damp earth as the sky lightened. Luna rolled herself onto her good side and pushed, her little body straining. Amma stiffened, trunk hovering, eyes wide. Sophia, who just stepped out with her medical bag, stopped at the door. Luna tried to stand. Her front feet slid. She grunted, muscles shaking. Then, with a small, determined cry, she found her balance. For the first time since Amma had carried her into the clearing, Luna stood. Crooked, shaky, leaning heavily on her good leg, the bandaged one barely touching the ground, but she was up. Amma let out a sound that was half trumpet, half sob. She stepped in close, bracing Luna with her trunk, steadying her. Sophia's hand flew to her mouth, her vision blurring with emotion. "You did it! You stubborn little miracle! You did it!" Over the next days, Luna took more steps, small ones at first, hobbling carefully in a slow circle between Amma and her aunt. Each step left a faint, uneven track in the dirt, like a signature written in survival. Amma matched her pace, always just close enough to catch her if she faltered. Finally, the day came when Sophia knew they had to remove the bandages for good. She approached with fresh supplies, but this time there would be no new dressings, only the truth of how well the wound had healed.
Amma seemed to sense the importance of it. She stood very still, positioning herself where she could see every movement of Sophia's hands. "All right, sweetheart," Sophia murmured to Luna, kneeling beside her. "Let's see what we've got." She began to unwrap the bandage, layer by careful layer. The cloth peeled away, revealing skin that was still scarred and pink, but clean. No angry swelling, no heat, no fresh bleeding. Just a thick, rough scar, a reminder of something that had almost ended a life and instead remade it. Sophia traced the edge of it gently. "You're going to limp," she said softly, more to herself than to Luna. "But you're going to live." Amma lowered her head until her eye was level with the wound. She inspected it, touching the scar lightly with the tip of her trunk. When she was satisfied, she turned her head towards Sophia. This time she didn't just look, she moved. Slowly, Amma stepped forward until her shadow fell completely over Sophia. Ethan tensed, but Daniel put a hand on his arm. "Wait," Daniel murmured. "Don't move. Let her choose." Amma bent her front legs, lowering her massive frame in a motion that looked almost like a bow. For a creature her size, it was an extraordinary act of vulnerability. She extended her trunk, not toward Luna, but toward Sophia. The leathery tip brushed against Sophia's open hand and rested there. Warm, heavy, intentional. Sophia froze, then let her fingers close slowly around the curve of Amma's trunk. For a moment, everything else faded. The wind, the dust, the distant calls of birds. There was only the quiet connection between a human doctor and a wild matriarch who had gambled her entire heart on a single, desperate act of trust. "She's thanking you," Ethan said softly. Daniel shook his head. "No, it's more than that." His voice dropped. "She's making you part of her story." Sophia swallowed, her throat too tight for words. She simply nodded, eyes glistening, her other hand resting on Luna's scarred leg. Amma held the contact for a few heartbeats, then withdrew her trunk and turned to her calf. She nudged Luna gently toward Sophia, rumbling low, almost encouragingly. Luna hesitated, then took 3 halting steps and reached out her small trunk. It touched Sophia's fingers in a clumsy, curious mimicry of her mother's gesture. The clearing held its breath. There it was, the passing of trust from one generation to the next. Later that afternoon, when Amma finally began to lead her family away from the outpost, they did not leave in a rush. They moved slowly, allowing Luna to keep up, the herd circling protectively around her. At the edge of the clearing, Amma paused and turned back. She walked to the nearest acacia sapling, snapped off a small leafy branch, and carried it carefully to the front step of the outpost. She laid it down with deliberate care. A gift, a tribute, a mark. Ethan stared. "Did she just—" "She did," Daniel answered quietly. "Where we come from, that would be an offering, a way of saying, you are under our protection too." Amma looked at them one last time. Her gaze swept over Sophia, Ethan, Daniel, Mia. There was no fear in it now, only recognition. Then she turned and followed her family out into the open plains, Luna limping at her side, tiny trunk occasionally swinging back as if waving goodbye. Months passed. The story of Amma and Luna spread far beyond the Serengeti, through ranger stations, conservation circles, even into quiet American living rooms where people watched the footage and shook their heads in wonder. Some called it a miracle, others called it proof that the wild was thinking, feeling, remembering in ways humanity had barely begun to understand. Sophia returned to her rounds. Ethan resumed patrols. Daniel kept tracking herds. Life moved forward, as it always does. But something had changed. The elephants began approaching ranger vehicles more often. not in panic or aggression, but with cautious curiosity. Amma's herd, in particular, seemed to seek out familiar shapes and familiar voices. Luna, growing stronger, would be the first to wander near, her limp less noticeable with each passing season. Then, one late afternoon, as the sun slid low over the horizon and painted the grasslands a deep orange, Sophia heard Ethan shout from outside the outpost, "You'd better come see this." She stepped out, wiping her hands on a towel. There, at the edge of the clearing, stood Amma. Beside her, leaning unsteadily on 3 legs, was a younger bull with a nasty gash along his side, fresh, bloody, and dangerous if left untreated. Amma took a few slow steps forward. She rumbled once, low and familiar, and in that moment there was no doubt about what she was doing. She was bringing another life to their door. Not by accident, not by instinct alone, but by choice. Sophia felt a slow, almost disbelieving smile spread across her face. What she did next, she whispered, no one would have believed, until now. Ethan glanced at her, eyes shining. "Well, Doc, you ready for another miracle?" Sophia stepped forward, heart steady, hands already reaching for her bag. "If Amma keeps knocking," she said quietly, "the least we can do is open the door." And so, on a small clearing in the great Serengeti, a new kind of understanding took root, one scar, one gesture, one act of courage at a time, between a wild elephant mother and the fragile creatures who had finally proven themselves worthy of her trust.